What is up, everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we are in the kitchen and we're going to be cooking one of my favorite things, and that is wild turkey breast. I was fortunate enough to get a couple of birds this past spring, and now we get to do the fun part, which is be in the kitchen and make a recipe and eat it. So, which is really the fun part of hunting. The older I get, I still like the the horns and the big beards and all that good stuff, but the part I've come to enjoy more is in the kitchen and trying different recipes and seeing what is good and maybe what's not so good. So we're actually going to do a smoked turkey breast with this, which we'll smoke this tomorrow for 6 to 8 hours on the Traeger. Tonight though, we're just going to prepare a simple brine, let it sit overnight. You can let this sit for 24, 48 hours would probably be fine, but we're just going to let it sit overnight and then get it on the smoker tomorrow. We'll season it up and get it on the smoker. So it's a simple brine. I'm gonna kind of go over the ingredients and then I'm gonna put all this together and then we'll get the breast in here. So basically just 4 cups of cold water. We have a 1/4 cup of kosher salt, which any salt will be fine. It's just what I had in the pantry. We did a whole cup of just brown sugar. And then we're gonna do a couple tablespoons of pure maple syrup. And then to finish it off, a couple tablespoons of cracked black pepper. Now, essentially all you want to do is just mix all this in the bowl, whisk it together real good so there's not any grain or anything left over, where it's just liquid and or dissolved well, I should say. And then we'll get the turkey breast in there, and we'll probably set a plate over it to make sure it keeps submerged in that brine overnight. Well, my camera girl went up to get in the bath, so we're gonna just let it sit up there and film kind of from a distance, but you can kind of still see what's going on. Like I said, pretty simple. A cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of salt, a couple tablespoons of black pepper, and then a couple tablespoons of just pure maple syrup. Ooh, and that comes out fast. There's 1 and 2. Guys, this doesn't have to be exact. It's not that big of a deal if it's not. So really, you can kind of make it whatever you want it to be. Then get this stirred up real good. It's going to take a couple minutes, and then we'll get the turkey breast in there and let it sit overnight. All right. So we've got that blended together real well. There's no particles or anything in it. It's all mixed really well. So we're done with that. And really all we've got to do now is just get this turkey breast down into the brine and let it set overnight. I've actually got another turkey breast in the sink that I'll probably put in this as well if I've got enough. But anyways, and I should have mentioned, I guess we're doing like a kind of like a honey glaze type turkey breast on one of these, and the other one I may try something different. But anyway, so simple enough. All you want to do is just set this down into that brine. Oh yeah, and there's going to be plenty to do the other one too. So I'm going to take a break for just a second, get this other breast out, get it set in here, and get it submerged, and then we'll come back. All right, turkey breast number 2. The good thing about turkey breast too is when you clean the bird, there's not, once you bring it back to the house, there's not a lot of cleanup to do. They're pretty much ready to be stuck in the, freezer or refrigerator, depending on how quick you're going to eat it. So like I said, these are nice and clean, nice looking breasts. So I'll get this one down in this brine too. There's, like I said, that brine made plenty. So get those nice and submerged. I'm gonna get a plate on top of this so they'll keep the breast submerged down in that brine overnight. And then tomorrow when we come back, we'll get these out, season them, and then we'll get them on the Traeger. So get up with y'all tomorrow. Okay, so it is the next day. Just pulled the turkey breast out of the refrigerator. It's been in the wet brine for about 16 to 18 hours, just sat overnight. Got it out, patted it dry, and now all we gotta do really is add the seasoning and a little bit of olive oil. Olive oil is just to act as a binder for your seasoning. And then the seasoning I'm using is called just the Quad All-Purpose Rub. It's from the University of Q. My cousin, I think, gave this to me, but it's some good stuff. It's got sugar, brown sugar, paprika, some salt, onion, garlic, a bunch of other good tasty ingredients in there. So I'm gonna get this rubbed down and then we'll get it on the Traeger. I got the Traeger preheated to 185 degrees. So we'll get this seasoned up and then we'll take it out and put it on the Traeger and let it sit for 6 to 8 hours. And then on one of these, right before probably around hour 6 or so. I'm gonna glaze it down and baste it with honey. And then let that caramelize on there. It should be pretty tasty. So I'm gonna get this on here and then we'll take it outside, get it on the Traeger and let it cook for a while. All right, I'm about to add the seasoning on this. Just put a base layer of olive oil, just light coating so this adheres to it. One thing too I should mention about the purpose of the wet brine really is to add a little bit of flavor to the meat. You know, some argue that it adds more. I may be on the side of the argument that says it doesn't add quite as much flavor, but another couple things, it helps tenderize the meat a little bit, and mainly it helps keep moisture in the meat while cooking. So game meat can be very lean, especially something like a wild turkey. So putting that in that wet brine will help keep that moisture in the meat so it doesn't dry out, because nothing's really good when you get it dried out. But I'm just gonna add the seasoning now, and I'm gonna coat it pretty liberally because you know you're only getting the outer ring when you cut into it. We're gonna probably cut this up for probably sandwich meat. So you're not getting a whole lot of seasoning other than what's on the outer ring. So I'm just gonna coat this up pretty liberally, rub it in good. I'm gonna do both sides. And then like I said, we'll get this on the Traeger. All right, so this has been on for about 6 hours now, so we're gonna check it. We're gonna add a little bit of honey to both sides. I'm only gonna add it on one of them, leave one of them plain. The internal temperature's up to about high 150s. So we're gonna get this basted on real good and thick. And then we'll let it go for probably another hour or so, maybe an hour and a half till it gets to about low 160s, 165, somewhere in that ballpark. So we're gonna get this basted up real quick on both sides, and then let that caramelize on the outside. Should give some good sweet flavor. So get this basted, and then we'll get up with y'all here in just a little bit when it gets done. Okay, so just pulled these off the Traeger. Total cook time ended up being around 7 hours. Brought the internal temp up to 165, brought them in, let them rest for a few minutes. And now we get to do the fun part, which is cut into them and eat them. I did bump the grill up in the last hour to 220 just because I was getting hungry and was wanting to try to get the temperature up. But you can see it's cooked very well. Got that good seasoning on the outside, nice and white, moist meat on the inside. This is the non-honey glazed one, and this is the honey glazed. But they both turned out very well. The non-honey glazed is a little bit more peppery, a little more spicy. The honey glazed is obviously a little sweeter. But you can cut this up, slice it thin for sandwiches. You can do really whatever you want to do with it. Serve it over rice with vegetables. You know, get creative with it. This stuff's really, really good. So. Yep, that's on point. So, first time doing this recipe actually, it turned out really well. I actually stole this. I'm a thief a little bit when it comes to recipes. I actually found this on YouTube. I think it was a Chad Mendez video or something, but I highly recommend trying this out. This is fantastic. So, until next time.